And Matt asks, do you focus on CRs to evoke emotions? For example, a major chord separated from a minor triad by a minor third interval. So what that sounds like is going to be a major triad separated from a minor triad by the interval of a minor third. So we've got an F major. If we go up a minor third, we get A flat minor. So we have F major. That's a very dark, kind of ominous sounding CR. And a CR is a chord relationship, basically kind of emotions evoked by just two specific chords used back to back. The answer is yes, sometimes I do. I will use CRs generally as a source of inspiration. So I've mentioned multiple times on this channel that my absolute favorite CR is the minor triad separated from a major triad by a perfect fourth. I just love that sound. And I use it in a lot of my music. It's very inspiring for me. And I'll use that when I'm struggling for ideas. And sometimes I'll use CRs when I'm going for a specific emotion. But generally, I'll try to move beyond such a simple strategy, because those are very powerful strategies. But the problem with trying to think of what chords can I use to make a sad theme, or how do I write a sad melodies, the issue with these questions, even though they've got their heart in the right place, is they're very limited. All right, music consists of 9 basic parameters. All right, tempo, timbre, texture, rhythm, register, harmony, pitch, articulation, and what's the last one I'm missing? 9th, dynamics, I think. I believe it's dynamics. Yeah, I think that's the one I didn't say. But there's all these different parameters in music, and the trick to portraying emotions isn't to focus on just any one of them, but to find a way to use all of them to kind of create this sense of how dark or bright is your emotion and how energetic is your emotion. So, case in point here. Here we have the same exact theme, and yet the types of emotions, while related, are separate. Here we have a very simple, basic, sad idea. Here we have focused on creating a dark valence which means we're trying to make it sound dark. All right? We're making it sound dark by focusing on a minor key and focusing on darker intervals in the melody. Now, if we want to make this from basic sadness to something much stronger, like tragedy or grief, that's a much more intense emotion. So we have to use strategies to add energy. So here we've doubled the melody in octaves. That adds energy. We've swapped out our sustained chords for repeated chords, or rhythmic chords, which adds energy. And here we've added another layer, a bass line, also doubled in octaves. All of these things add energy. And even though we're using the exact same chord progression and the exact same melody, the types of emotions are not identical. One definitely feels much larger, more intense than the other. And the same can be done in the opposite direction. If we wanted to, we could take this entire thing, our same original emotion, and we can swap it. We can, instead of making it more intense, we can make it less intense. We can make it sound a little bit more nostalgic. Let's see. So what we can do is if we wanted to take this and make it sound more nostalgic, something we could very simply do right away is swap out the 1 chord per measure rule and switch it to 1 per 2. So let's mute this E minor. We'll drop it just so we don't delete it. I don't like deleting stuff. And we'll just lengthen A minor. Something else we can do is we can turn this into a 7th chord. And then this is going to be a little tricky. So instead of dropping the chord, let's raise the melody, shall we? Let's take the melody, we're going to raise it an octave to make it a little bit brighter. We are going to make this a 7th chord again. So now what we've got is... And then we can create... So we've got A minor. At this point, I'm just kind of throwing things together. So let's see this. Let's shorten all of these. We'll just go straight to F major. And we'll make it F major 7. So if we take these emotions, F major 7, and you're just kind of moving back and forth a little bit. And in fact, that's what we'll just do. We'll delete these. We'll copy and paste, and then we'll make any adjustments we need to in our melody above it. And if we really wanted to, something else we could do is we could get rid of our eighth notes and make this move much slower. At least not all of them, not all of our eighth notes, but we can get rid of a good chunk of them. And in fact, let's just kind of, what we're gonna do, quantize this to make it fit a bit better. We'll delete that, we'll leave that one, stretch that one, we'll leave that, because this is the more, in fact, let's leave this, because that's the more interesting part. And so now we have kind of this. Let's bring this chord out here a bit earlier. You know what, let's just leave the melody the way it was. I kind of like it better that way. Yeah, so essentially what we've got going on is we've got 3 variations of the exact same piece. Every single one of them have the same melody and have the same basic harmony. The only thing that we're really changing is the energy level. We're making it bigger or smaller, and as you can see, that creates a different kind of emotional feel out of it. The one difference is we are kind of moving, we are changing the harmonic language here from strictly triads to 7th chords. But the main impact is still energy. We're going from 1 chord per measure to just 1 chord every 2 measures. So now we have one simple idea that was initially meant to be sad. And by just manipulating our energy, we're able to get a lot more mileage out of it, get a lot more nuance, because we're trying to follow that description of how intense and how positive or negative is your emotion. And then we increase the energy to create something a bit more dramatic and tragic sounding. Same exact melody, same exact harmony. All we did is doubled up a couple more octaves, added a bit more rhythms, and introduced a 3rd layer, the bass line. All of which impact the energy or the intensity of the emotion. And then bringing it all the way back down, we have a marginally more nostalgic and kind of lower energy sound. Again, same exact melody. Didn't change a thing about the melody. We just focused on changing the harmony and the energy level. All right, so with that, my brain is fried, my friends. All right, I'm sorry, I was hoping I would have a bit more energy to do this, but I'm probably going to call it short. If anyone has any questions, I'd be happy to address them before I go.